All right, what's up guys? So I have been on something of a spray sealant kick lately, and I got another one that I want to try out today, and that is the Koch-Chemie S0.02. I actually thought it was pronounced S0.02, but I've seen some people say S0.02, so I assume that's how you say it. It's easier to say that way anyway. But yeah, so when it comes to, spray sealants, I fairly recently, a couple weeks ago, did a 6-month check-in on the Clean by Panty Organizer ceramic spray sealant, which I tested out on Nardo last October, and that's been holding up really, really well. I got a chance to try the GYEON wet coat, which, I mean, that could not be an easier spray on, rinse off spray sealant, which has some good protection there. And then the last one that I mean, there's a couple of others that I want to try, but the other one that I really wanted to try is the Koch-Chemie S0.02. And I have a really dirty car to test it on. So just got back from another road trip, 2,000-mile road trip. My wife and I went to go pick our son up out at school and went down to Lebanon, Tennessee for the Good Guys car show this past weekend. My father-in-law is a car builder, and he had his 34 Ford hot rod making its first appearance. And I'm not like a super huge hot rod fan, but this car was amazing. Just monster of a car, spins wheels in every gear. It's very, very cool. So, and it's actually going to be at the Dover, Delaware show at the end of this month. So if you are in town for that, definitely worth stopping by the hot rod section and give that a view. But anyway, yeah, so 2,000 miles of all kinds of bug guts and grime and everything else. So I'm going to do a full decon wash on this. Got the Built Hamber touchless, which, man, I have really come to love that product. I just did a video on that recently. I've used it a couple of times since then, and just phenomenal pre-foam. So I'm going to up the panel impact ratio on that just a little bit because the car is super dirty. Then I got some gentle snow foam for the contact wash, iron remover, clay bar, well, synthetic clay bar, got the auto scrub. But anyway, so we're gonna do a full decon. I'm gonna pull this in the garage and we will do the spray sealant treatment. So let me get this cleaned up and we'll catch back up in a few. All right, guys, so decontamination is all done. Time for the spray sealant. Now, real quick, not to make this a comparison between the S0.02 and the 0.03. However, the 0.03 is applicable to all parts of the car. So paint, glass, trim, whatever it is. And the S0.02, this stuff, is only for painted surfaces. And per the instructions, you want to make this the last chemical you use on the car for the day. So I don't really know what the curing time is. It was 12 hours or whatever, but the instructions are, pretty easy, like any other spray sealant. So 1 to 2 sprays per panel. Work in small sections, so don't spray the whole car. Just do, one section at a time. Let it sit for a couple of seconds after you spray it, and then buff it in with a microfiber towel. You don't want to let this dry on the paint. And for larger sections of the car, like the hood or the roof or anything like that, break it up into smaller sections. So like do half or a quarter, depending on how big your car is. But otherwise, that's about it. And for the results, it says to expect a velvety touch and a deep gloss look. So really interested to see how that comes out with this paint. Yasmarina blue, it varies pretty wildly depending on the lighting conditions. So if it's cloudy out, it's a sort of a deeper blue. And if it's direct sunlight, it's a little bit lighter. Plus you got the metallic flecks in it. So can't wait to see how this comes out. And again, really easy to apply. So let's get this on there, and hopefully I have some daylight left to get the car back out and get some impressions in natural daylight. All right, let's do the trunk. 1, 2. Now it says it's for painted surfaces, but I'm going to include the carbon fiber as a painted surface. Maybe that should not be the case, but that's how I'm going to do it. Yeah. That's a nice look. Dude, that is slick. Ooh. Wow. Here's an area that I haven't done yet, and the area that I just treated, and that is a very noticeable difference. So as you move on with the microfiber towel, like it's a little bit damp, so even in an area that you don't hit directly, like not hitting this, little bar exactly, but the carryover should be enough to get good coverage there. That was technically 2.5. I'm gonna allow it. Yeah, man, with the way this stuff spreads, you really don't need a lot of it. Which is kind of cool, because that means the 500 milliliter bottle will go a long way. Dude, the initial look on this stuff is this is like almost a mirror finish. So that is really impressive. Man, this stuff is fantastic. Now, before I get into it, and I'll try to be brief about this, I am going to try not to really compare these to the other products that I've tested recently, the Clean by Pan, the Organizer, Ceramic Spray Sealant, and the GYEON Wet Coat, because first of all, they're just all they're all spray sealants. And by the way, there's a ton of spray sealants out there. Obviously, if you're watching this, you already know that. So these are only the 3 that I've tested recently, but not only are they a little bit different. You figure pans, that is a ceramic spray sealant. I don't believe these are. The wet coat is a very quick, spray on, rinse off, whereas this you buff in, so it's a little bit more attention to detail. And another thing is that I did a full decontamination of the car. So when we take into consideration how smooth it feels, I do have to, take into account the fact that I didn't do a decontamination when I tested the other products, but I did with this one. So really, this isn't like it's not a one-to-one comparison of these different products, so just keep that in mind. That all being said, man, dude, this stuff is fantastic. Yes, it was helped in part by the decontamination, but it absolutely is velvety smooth. Now, I did feel the car before and after applying it. So like after I decontaminated, but before I applied the product. And yes, you can feel like obviously a lack of contamination in the paint. It's been a while since I've done that, so I could certainly tell the difference. But after having sprayed this on, and buffed it in and then feeling it afterwards, man, it is just different. And in terms of how it looks, like, the glossiness and everything, it's not wet, right? So it doesn't have a wet look. I've never done a ceramic coating, so I'd imagine that's about as deep gloss as you're probably going to get. Since I have not done that yet, I wouldn't call it wet overall, but it is definitely glossy. I don't think anybody would be disappointed with the level of gloss that you get out of this, especially considering how easy it is to apply. And again, this stuff is only for the painted surfaces. So, I did the entire car in less than 15 minutes. So very easy to apply. And the last thing to talk about is the hydrophobics. Now, not having much contamination in the paint, this stuff is going to get better adhesion to it, and so it's going to work better. So I'm not comparing it to anything else, but I've done decontaminations before and have used all kinds of different products afterwards and everything. I think this is some of the best stuff that I've seen when not talking about a direct hand-applied sealant and a waxing, right? So with the hydrophobics, you hit it with the water, it just drops off the car. But even more impressive than that, I think, is when you use a leaf blower. Sometimes you hit it with a leaf blower and you can see like the big particles of water, the big pools of water get pushed off, but the little bits, they just get pushed around a little bit, but 90 some odd % or more of the water just gets flung off the car. So yeah, this is some of the more impressive stuff I've seen, again, with just a buffed in spray sealant. So anyway, I don't think you can go wrong with this. I will leave it linked in the description below if you want to check it out. In the meantime, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.